Alright everyone, welcome back for another video on Legend of Mushroom. Today we are talking about the tournament. I want to show you the different fights I made in the tournament with my friend Demon Killer because we managed to reach the top 16 that time, but unfortunately we couldn't make it through that fight here because we just faced the best players in the game. So, you will see exactly all the fights, you will have the detail, and I'm gonna show you the build of my character. So if you want to replicate the same at your level, if you want to have some more efficiency with the Warbringer, you know exactly what you need to use, what you need to have on your account, alright? So let's start with the first fight. There we go, so this is the one, right? So I'm just gonna come back a bit earlier so you can see the players I had in front. So here for the first fight, you have a Sacred Hunter, that is a tanky regen build. You have 8.64% regeneration, you have pretty good HP and a pretty good attack for a Sacred Hunter, tanky class. And so this is the first opponent, and the other one is another Warbringer, a bit less power than me, a bit less attack and HP and defense, and a lot of counter-strike. I'm not sure about that, maybe you can confirm that in the comments, but in the previous updates, they increased the cap of the counter and the combo, so now you're not capped at 100%, so having a bit more apparently might be interesting. Let me know if you think it is the case or not. So, a Warbringer and a Sacred Hunter, alright? So let's see what happened in fight. So as you can see here, we lost two fights and we were able to win only one. So let's see what happened. So this is the positioning here. You have the Sacred Hunter here. So if I understood the positioning correctly in the tournament, the front row here is attacking in priority the back row here. And the back row is attacking in priority the front row here. So this is what I understood. So that guy here, the Sacred Hunter, is attacking Demon Killer, and this one is attacking me directly. So let's see what is happening. So you can see here, that animation here is the back accessory I'm using. That is the tiger back, and this is how I can release a lot of damage in the tournament, because you have AoE damage every time you're using that, and it is scaling on the target's max HP, plus your counter damage, and it does a crazy amount of damage, as you can see here. And so basically, I am killing the guy here, and I'm almost killing that guy as well, thanks to the tiger back and my counter strike. But unfortunately, I'm not strong enough for now to handle all the martial stages and the tanky players, in fact. Look at that. He's almost dead. The other guy is proccing the cheat amount, so now it is proccing mine. You can see the animation here, but unfortunately, it landed on the blitz assault of the target, so I wasn't able to kill HAYATO here. He was very close to die, and now it's gonna be an endless fight, because both are gonna regen a lot. And you can see the artifact that he is using here, very strong when you are using a Martial Sage versus another Martial Sage, so you can decrease the max HP of the target here. That artifact here, the scroll. That is an amazing one. Or you have the Scorpio mount, that is very nice. But for the first fights of the tournament, we decided not to use the Scorpio mount because you have a lot of diversity in the opponents, and it's working well versus the Martial Sages. But when you face other classes, DPS classes, you are less tanky, and if I lose the tank early in battle, then it is very, very bad. So if I accelerate the fight here, you can see that he's regenerating, and over time, my friend is starting to take some more damage than before. And so the fight ended like that. The guy who has the more amount of HP remaining at the end wins the fight. So this is what happened. And so this is the second fight, the fight that we won. And in fact, everything depended on the blitz assault of the target when I casted the cheat amount. Because there, look at that. Here, cheat amount, he's dead. So I was able to handle the two of them, and we were able to win thanks to that. I wonder how it would work if we were two Warbringers with the same amount of power in the tournament. That might be interesting to check that. Alright, so second fight. That time we have a prophet, or a tanky prophet here. 1400 billion HP. This is not a very high amount of HP for me. I can handle these fights when I'm not using the DPS build though, but yeah, 7% regeneration is very low, so that build is not that efficient here in my opinion. And the second opponent is a Beastmaster. 160 million power, pretty nice amount of attack, almost the same HP as me, I have just a little more. And so basically, let's run the fight. Yeah, I checked the stat, but there is nothing really interesting here. Oh, the counter damage resistance, 73% on the Beast Tamer. So we will see the damage I can inflict here. We won 3-0. Let's check that. I have, by the way, 72% pile damage resistance, so I am not taking a lot of damage from them. As you can see here, I can remain alive very long. A cheat amount to tank. It procced my chrono, that was lucky. Here, it procced the chrono on the opponent as well. For now, he's still alive. It's gonna probably proc my cheat amount as well. Yeah, cheat amount here, and he's dead. So the Warbringer build here is very, very offensive and super strong in that content. When you are using the cheat amount, you have a lot of damage on the opponents, plus the tiger bag that is destroying the opponents, but the tiger bag is more accessible than the cheat amount, let's be honest. Alright, next fight, still on the qualifications, you have another Plume Monarch here, but a very low amount of power, so not a lot of threat here, and another Plume Monarch, and they don't have a lot of power, so of course we won that easy. Let's check that. Yeah, look at the damage they are taking here. I'm taking a lot of damage as well, by the way. And so we were able to win that fight easy, alright? But that's normal, the power difference is too big. So next fight, we have a Warbringer, a bit less power than me. On the next one, a Martial Sage, but not very tanky, 1200 billion HP, that is not a lot. So I decided to skip the fight, there is no need to show it to you. You have another Martial Sage, but less tanky than the previous one. And here you have another Martial Sage, but almost 2000 billion HP, which is close to what we have on Demon Killer here. So let's see what is happening in the fight. So you can see the difference, by the way, in tankiness. Here, this is the small Martial Sage, so he's taking a lot of damage. And here, this is the big Martial Sage, and one more time, you can see that every time the Tiger Back is proccing, it is dealing a crazy amount of damage to both of them. Alright, so my chrono triggered. Now I'm close to trigger the cheat amount. One is dead, and the other one is dead, and I was still alive for now. They are not very offensive. When you are using two Martial Sages, this is not the best strategy in that content. Better use one tanky class and a DPS class. So here, another Sacred Hunter. That is another tanky build, by the way, but a bit less tanky than the previous one we faced. And we have another Plume Monarch here, pretty nice amount of attack, almost the same power as me. So let's see what happened. Suppose that I will take more damage than before that time. No, I'm not taking any damage at all. Which is interesting though. I have a lot of ignore combo. At that time I had 50% ignore combo. Oh, and I started to take a crazy amount of damage all of a sudden here. That was insane. Because they killed my friend, in fact. I don't know how the positioning is working exactly. That guy, my tank, took all the damage, and then when he died, they both attacked me, and look at my health here. But it's proccing along my back accessory as well, so I released crazy damage, and so we were able to win that fight. Alright, next round. Here, this is the strong group I showed you in another video, the one with the same strategy as ours. They are using a Martial Sage. He was tankier than Demon Killer before, but now Demon Killer has had just a bit more HP, and the other guy is way more efficient than me. You will see that in battle. So you can compare the stats here, but yeah, whatever. He just has a crazy stuff, and I just want to see the counter damage resistance, 83%. So I am clearly not here to release some damage. And the second guy in the team, Yeah, if you want to know, this is the build of Demon Killer. Oh wait, he had less HP in fact, my bad, but a bit more regeneration rate. And this is the Warbringer in front. Insane. If you want to compare, normally I'm getting at the top here. This is the difference. We have almost the same HP, but he has 4,000, almost 4,000 million more attack. I have more defense, 1,000 more, and then we are close with the crit damage here, you see? It is almost the same. With the counter multiplier, we have almost the same as well. He has a bit more than me. And the counter damage resistance, I need to check that as well. Counter damage resistance, he has a bit more. So on the paper, he is way stronger than me. So let's see what happened in battle. So this is the Warbringer here, and look at the damage one more time. This is insane. Cheat amount, but he was able to tank that time because we were prepared. We didn't use the Scorpio mount that time, we used the Nebula Shuttle, so he could handle way more damage than before. And so he could remain alive. And then, look at that, he's almost dead. But I'm lacking just a bit of damage. If I had a little more, I would be more efficient and we could kill them without struggling here. At least when they have the same amount of power as us, alright? And then it is a battle of titans here. It's gonna take the 5 entire minutes, and the one with the highest amount of HP remaining at the end is gonna win the fight. So basically, this is the end of the battle here, and you can see that Demon Killer, he's max HP, full HP, and the other one is very close, but he had a bit less HP, and we won thanks to that. So that was a very, very close fight, and then, okay, I was out. So we won 3-0 here, but very, very interesting fight there. Alright, and then the top 32 here. Let's see who did we face. And this is interesting because we have one more time one of the strongest player in the game here, two prophets with crazy damage, and that was super close. That round here was very, very close. Look at that, we won 2-1. There is a very, very strong Plume Monarch here, way more power than us. 8,000 million attack here and probably way more other stats. Very strong. And here 160 million, he's less tanky than Demon Killer, so on the paper normally it was doable, alright? So first of all, the fight that we lost. So you have the Plume Monarch on the right here. You can see that we can tank a lot of damage, but my friend is taking a crazy amount of damage. He's almost dead and now he died. This is gonna be so close, look at that. I took the cheetah mount, it procced my chrono artifact, and now look at that, this is so close. I'm gonna proc the cheetah mount, and I suppose that it went on the Blitz Assault. Yeah, Blitz Assault, cheetah mount, look at that. Blitz Assault, cheetah mount. Oh, but it dealt the damage. Pixel HP, and we lost the fight because of that. But we won the two others. That was very close as well, but we won that. Extremely close fight. So the same happened. No, okay, that went different that time. We took less damage. Clearly, I can't tell you what happened. Why on one fight my friend has been destroyed and why on the others? Yeah, the same happened here again. But that time I released a tiny bit more damage and so I was able to kill him with the cheetah mount. That was so freaking close. But we made it. Alright, second round. We won a 2-1. As I told you, the top 32 here was very, very close. So we have a tanky prophet here. With a lot of attack, by the way. 180 million power, which is insane. And another Beastmaster, even more power. So we are at 165 million with Demon Killer, alright? So they have 20 million more power than us. And look at the attack on the Beastmaster, the HP, that is a crazy build. But you know, I am almost immune to PAL damage. 72% PAL damage resistance, so let's see what happens. Yeah, you see, I'm almost immune to PAL damage. Oh my goodness, so it procced the chrono mounts, but look at the HP they lost already. Now I'm gonna proc the cheetah mounts. Well, the first one is dead, and the second one is very close. And look at the damage he is taking. And so we lost. Let's check the two other fights. because that was a bit different. I suppose that I released a bit more damage, so I proc the chrono mount on him, alright? And look at the damage on the cheetah mount. I was able to proc the cheetah mount, and I was still alive, which means that I took the damage before dying, so Demon Killer was safe, and we won thanks to that. Then the positioning matters a lot, because if he was somewhere else, we probably would have lost this one. And the same happened on the next round, I guess. Let's check. Taking a crazy amount of damage. Okay, it's gonna proc the chrono. It procced my cheetah mount and it procced the cheetah mount as well on him. Alright, he took way more damage than on the previous round. That is interesting. Very, very nice fight. That was rewarding for us to win that. Oh, and then that insane fight here. This is my two friends, Dino and Wally. Look at that. Crazy stats. One of the strongest player we currently have in the game. 183 million power, 15,000 million attack. Crazy amount of HP as well. Some regeneration. And we have a Wally. Almost... I don't know why the power is fixed at 136 million. He's probably close to me. Maybe a little more than 170 million is probably his true power. I don't know how he's hiding the power here. Let's check the fight. That was interesting. They are using the tiger back as well. At least the Wally. So look at that. Pre-blitz. Probably if I was using the bird pal, I would probably didn't take the how you call that, the pre-blitz damage, but it was very, very hard because of that. Look at that. I'm almost dead. My friend is almost dead. We proc the cheetah mount here. By the way, Dino is not using the cheetah mount, but he's using the chrono. So normally, if I'm able to destroy the first HP bar here, he's gonna heal back to half HP at least. And so we died here. One is dead, the other one is still alive. But the difference in power here is very, very interesting. So you can see that our build is working pretty well, right? Look at that. The pre-blitz damage is insane. Probably for the next time I will use the bird pal to handle that kind of fight. I think that it is a good idea to do that so I won't take the pre-blitz damage, and if we can survive just a bit longer, the fight will be more interesting. Alright, the third fight here. One more time, the pre-blitz damage. Look at that, the tiger back on us. And Dino super tanky here. And by the way, I think that Wally is dying right before me. So if I was able to release at least a bit more damage one more time, I can have at least 20% more global counter on my character. So if I can have that, maybe it's gonna be enough at least to kill the first HP bar and then see what is happening next. But that is already very efficient, right? Okay, next round. That time versus Shiro. Look at the tankiness on that guy. He was alone. I don't know why. Okay, so let's run the fight and let's see what happened. Look at that. We deal absolutely no damage. But for the top 32, I told Demon Killer to use the Scorpio mount because we would face a lot of tanky players, and so we needed that because I wasn't able to handle the fight. And that was a good idea because thanks to the Scorpio mount, you will see that over time, I'm dead already, but over time, Demon Killer will be able to kill Shiro by his own. Look at that. You will see the animation of the Scorpio right here, you see? That's the Scorpio mount. And so for now, he's not dealing any damage at all, but over time, you will see the difference. You see? Look at that. Now he has all the stacks of bleeds coming from the Scorpio mount, and this is why the Scorpio is very important here. So over time, he's almost dead and he's still full life. Because the build of Shiro is to handle the most amount of damage, alright? So he's very tanky, but he's not dealing a lot of damage to other martial sages because he destroyed me. And so we were able to win thanks to that. Next round. So here, a Plume Monarch. Pretty good stats, almost the same power as us. And a martial sage, way more tanky than Demon Killer, by the way. But Scorpio Mount. But we lost. I just saw that. I didn't remember, but we lost 2 fights and we won 1. So let's see what happened here. Probably my friend Demon Killer died. So this is the Plume Monarch in front. It's gonna proc the cheetah mount and... Okay, he's still alive for now? No, the cheetah mount. Okay. So this is what happened. He killed our tank and we lost because of that. So here, a cheetah mount. Oh, that was so close. Do you see the damage I released with the cheetah mount and the tiger back? Oh my goodness. And probably we won after casting that on the second fight. Then it depends. It was a pixel amount of HP, so... No, that time he took way more damage, alright? What just happened here? Why was it so different? Okay. One more time, he's almost dead and he took no damage at all that time. Okay, cheetah mount, I'm dead. And he's gonna start regenerating. But we are using the Scorpio mount. So maybe... No, unfortunately, even with that, he's taking more damage and he's gonna die before the end. But that was close. One more time, that was very close. Very interesting fights. Next round, we won a 3-0. But that was a very interesting fight here. A bit more tankiness on a Nooby here, another Martial Sage. And another Warbringer. So this is almost exactly the same strategy in front that time. So let's see what happened. Alright, start of the fight. Different positioning as you can see here. So I am taking most of the damage. The Warbringer here died before me. And oh my goodness, that was so close. Look at that. Yeah, I remember now. Because we are using the Scorpio mount and normally over time we have a bit more damage and so we are winning the fight thanks to that. Look, he was able to heal and now he has more HP than Nooby. And if I continue the fight here, we won thanks to that. It is a good idea to use the Scorpio mount here, but it is very risky. It depends on the opponents you will have, because maybe you will be more efficient for one round, but maybe for the other rounds you will take more damage, and so if you lose your tank in the team, then you are in trouble. And so we were able to handle the fight here. Very, very interesting one more time. And the last round here, we won a 3-0. That was a Beastmaster, same power as us. And another Martial Sage, but way less tanky, so that fight was more easy. Can see that this guy is taking way more damage. He's dead already. I'm dead as well, but now it is Martial Sage versus Martial Sage. And one more time, when I die, the Martial Sage in front is almost dead. So if I had just a bit more damage, we would kill them easier. Easily. Losing my words. And so over time, we were able to win that fight. And the last round, the two strongest players in the game. You have Plot here, 216 million power, that is a Sacred Hunter. Very high amount of attack power, this is insane, alright? And then you have Z, the strongest prophet in the game. That's the kind of regeneration prophet build. You have a lot of HP, a crazy amount of attack. 19,000 million, that is insane, and 4.2 million defense as well. That is an interesting fight, but we got destroyed, but it is still interesting, so let's see what happened. Now, this is the top 16. Look at that, pre-blitz. One more time, if I was using the Bird Pal, it would have been better. But look at that, with one hit, it procs my chrono, and here I am dead already. And look at the damage they took for now. I'm in the front line, so I'm able to tank all the damage. I just procced the chrono on Plot. And I'm about to die. Now I just used the cheetah mount. Z is almost dead, but I suppose that he's also using the chrono, but I'm not sure about that. And now look at how fast Demon Killer is dying here. You want to see the fight one more time? Let's see that again. pre-blitz, and now the bat is destroying me so fast. This is insane. So cheat amount, I procced one more time the chrono on plot. And on Z, yeah, look at that. He had the chrono as well, so now he's max HP again. I wonder what would happen if I had the 20% global counter I'm missing on my account. This is probably the equivalence of 2 or 3,000% counter multiplier. That would make probably a big difference. Like maybe I could deal that amount of HP, more damage to them. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. All right, so one more try. The last try for that video, which is interesting. See if I can deal a bit more damage here. And no, I didn't even proc the chrono on Z here. But that was very interesting. We got destroyed, but this is still interesting to see how you perform versus the strongest players in the game. I do freaking love that. Alright, so let's get back in game, and before ending the video, I just want to show you something more. Here, because now you look at that. This is the final. They beat us, then they won versus Sun and Moon here, and they are facing Dino and Wally, so this is gonna be an insane fight. So let's see what happened here. 2 more sausages in front. Okay, they survived longer, it seems like. The first one is dead, and now the other one has to tank everything, and he's dead, and it was less efficient than us. I could proc the chrono mounts on them. And let's see what happened here for Dino and Wally. Oh, they were not able to pre-blitz them. And they died in front super fast. That is super interesting. And now this is the last match here. I can't wait to see what is happening here. Amazing. But I suppose that this is going to be very hard for Dino and Wally to win the fight, because these opponents here are absolutely insane. So let me know what you think about all of that, guys, in the comments. If you want to know the build I used, I'm going to show that to you quickly now. So basically, this is a Warbringer build, a DPS build. This is not made to kill tanky players, but in the tournament, things are a little bit different than on the other arenas. You are dealing more damage with the Tiger back. So that build is working very well. You want to have some crit and counter everywhere on the pieces of gear. Then on the defense, on the skills, you want to use these. Very important. So you are lowering the attack of the opponent and you increase your damage dealt and the Ballistic Assault, of course. Here the goal is to reduce the damage you take with these 3 pals and increase the attack speed of the opponent so you can release more counter. I'm using the toothpaste now to have a little bit more counter strike, counter rate. These are the relics I am using at the moment. Full global counter at the prayer statue. I'm gonna show you my talents right after, and my scrolls and souls. These are the items I used. The chrono is very important if you want to challenge in the tournament. The cheat amount and the tiger back. The tiger back is the most important one here. This is the one that releases crazy damage. This is my avian. No speeding, barrel dodge, rage bonus, and reflect counter. These are the most important ones to have in that content. And this one helps to decrease the damage you take. It's lowering the attack of the opponent by 15% for 5 seconds, so it helps a lot. For the cards, I am using these ones. I changed them recently. So wait. This one, every 14 seconds after the battle starts, you gain a shield that absorbs 11, almost 12% of max HP, during which every basic attack deals some additional damage of counter damage that can crit. So it releases a lot of damage. This is a very nice to use. Here, this one increases your attack speed and increases your counter damage. It adds some counter damage to your basic attacks, so this is very nice. And this one here is increasing your crit rate and crit damage, so it can help. So this is what I'm using here. If you want to know the scrolls I'm using, these are my seals. Most in attack and crit damage, and then I try to have a lot of crit resistance, HP and defense. Crit resistance is very nice to handle some damage coming from the Beast Tamers, from the Plume Monarchs, and from the other Warbringers. This is the best source of defense versus other DPS classes, so this is the reason why I'm using that. For the souls, most in my offensive stats, the counter damage, the crit damage, and the attack, and then I balanced my HP, defense, and crit resistance here, and I'm trying to have global counter everywhere here. I have 6% there, I'm lacking the 10% here I have known. On this one I have 10%, and on this one I have 6%. So I am sitting on 18% global counter on the souls only, which is a lot, alright? Then if you want to know the enchants that I am using at the moment, I have a broken set here, okay? So I could have a bit more. On that rune I have a 26% global counter, a 24% here. On this one I have a 25%, and that's a pal damage resistance one. By the way, here this is a counter damage one. On this one I have a crit damage bonus, that is mandatory to have that here, and global counter 25%. On this one I have a 17%, which is not a lot, but I'm working on another rune at the moment. It is level 7, and I have 8% for now, and that is the right set, so I'm working on that, but I'm lacking some green potions to have more. And 27% on that, so basically I have 145% global counter coming from my enchants. This is insane. Very, very strong. Then my talents. On my talents, this is what I am using at the moment. On the Fury, I went on the left to have the Ascension here. I don't care about that. I'm gonna be honest, I absolutely don't care about that. But the thing is that with the Warbringer, you need to go on the left to take the counter damage. And on the right, you want to have the crit damage and the counter damage as well. Plus some resistances at the top. So if I want to achieve that, I'm forced to take the one on the left, then to take the one on the right. This one is very strong when you're using the cheat amount and the chrono. It helps a lot to increase the damage of these two items. Very, very efficient. Alright? So then I increase my basic attack, my HP defense, and attack everywhere to 20. And I tried to increase my healing everywhere I could. I have ignore combo, 10 on 10 on the right and 10 on 10 on the left. And here at the top, all the resistance is maxed out, but I don't care about the basic attack resistance. It helps a lot for PvE, but for PvP it is useless. And I'm working on my evasion now. On the archery, I went on the left for the crit damage here. I had a bit of evasion. I have the crit damage here on the left as well, some healing as well. And I went at the top for the same resistances. On the sorcery, I went for that to increase my attack, of course. Then I don't care about the wand and stuff like that, because for the tournament I don't want to handle the tanky builds in front. My goal is to release a lot of damage at once. And so then I took the ignore counter here, and I don't have the 20% ignore counter there, so you have to make some choices over time. It would be interesting here to have that if you were facing a martial stage, so you could have more crit resistance and more energy regen, but whatever. So I went at the top here for the resistances, and on the Tame Beast tree I have the same, alright? On the dividing path, on the first one here I have a crit rate, crit rate counter, crit rate, global defense, the crit rate one more time, and global HP. This is only purple, so it could be way better. I need to work on that later, but for now I'm focusing on unlocking the 5 nodes here for each. Crit rate 5% and 1% counter strike with a bit of block and ignore block, so this is pretty nice. Crit rate, pal res, for the rest I don't care. Ignore combo, 8% is very strong, plus 4% ignore counter here, very strong. And on the last one, ignore block for the martial sages, ignore counter, 2%, global defense, regeneration. So this is what I have at the moment. The best for a Warbringer would be to have as much pierce as you can, so you would release way more damage. I need to work on that, but probably I will try that on another tree, on another preset. But for now, this is what I am using. All right, 21% crit rate coming from that tree here, which is very, very strong. So if I show you my stats before ending the video, I have more than 100% crit rate without using the Beast Robo thanks to the Dividing Path. Crit damage at 10,268%, almost a 2,000% crit resistance. Very nice for a DPS class. 48% ignore combo, 26% ignore counter. I have 110% counter strike, thanks to the toothpaste I'm using now. Evasion 92%, ignore evasion 124%. I have, don't care about the regeneration. This is very low, so it is useless. A 4,400 basic attack multiplier. Now my resistances for a DPS build are very high. 53.5% combo damage res, 53% counter damage resistance. I got a 52% skill damage resistance and 72% pile damage resistance. So as I told you, very nice resistances for a DPS class. 71,300% counter multiplier, that is very high. And then healing rate and healing amount. I suppose that it is helping, but for now I have no pierce at all. I have a 700 ignore block. This is so bad, I need to work on that. I have a lot of pierce, at least a 2000 pierce would help a lot. And so 25% damage resistance, and these are my main stat, HP, attack, and defense. Alright guys, so that is all for the video. Let me know what you think about that in the comment below. Have a really nice day. That was HAYATO, take care, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.